Let's go back to Kaikoura now. Ian Walker is a mechanic by trade, but he's also the chief officer of the Kaikoura Volunteer Fire Brigade. At 2 minutes past midnight a year ago, November 14 last year, he was tossed out of bed as this huge earthquake, 7.8 magnitude earthquake, struck. He talked to Maja Burry and our videographer, Claire Easton-Fallery, about how one of the biggest days of his life unfolded.
The first full day was all on, because we didn't really know what we were going into. Because it was just absolutely huge what had happened, and because not having any communications, phones or power, water, sewerage, the whole town was in disarray.
Ian Walker isn't one to exaggerate. When he says the day of the quake was mayhem, he means it. Bridges were broken, roads were unusable. Slips had come down, the coastline had been thrust upwards, and people needed help. In the first 10 days after the earthquake, Mr Walker says the Volunteer Fire Brigade received 580 calls for assistance.
A lot of welfare calls. There was, we had fire calls, we had NVAs, we had chimneys to remove, roofs to secure, just general work of what happens in an earthquake.
One of the first places where Ian Walker and his team were called out to help on November the 14th was the Elms homestead. Located near Kaikoura, the historic two-storey home built in the 1870s collapsed in the quake, killing Louis Edgar. Mr Edgar's wife Pamela survived the collapse of the family's home and managed to escape, but his 100-year-old mother Margaret was trapped. Ian Walker recalls arriving to the scene and the rescue and recovery effort that followed.
Well, the house was collapsed, and of course we had to make sure things were safe. We got a digger, and we actually dug our way into the place, and removing debris as we went, because we didn't want it to collapse on our guys too. So we had to be extremely careful and just do it as we're trained.
You pulled someone out alive, didn't you?
Yes, she came out. We got the lady out. She was alive, and unfortunately it was her son that was killed.
Ian Walker says he is proud of how his team responded to the natural disaster and how the community has pulled together since. He says he won't forget that day on November the 14th, 2016.
Oh, no. You wouldn't forget it because, you're involved with it. You saw so much disaster, so many distressed people. It was, there was families just, in shock. And, there's still some people that can't get over it, and which is quite understandable. Everyone's different. So it's life.
Some amazing stories coming out on the anniversary of the Kaikoura quake. That was Ian Walker, the chief of the Kaikoura Fire Brigade.